You ever get scared when you read the news? I get scared when I read the news. Not just scared at all the people dying because of COVID-19. Not even really that scared about the fact that the politicians in charge, the Tory government in charge, aren't even really reporting the true death toll. Now, even that doesn't scare me. It doesn't scare me because I would never expect them to report the true death toll. Because on the whole, I'd never expect them to tell the truth about anything. Take, for example, if you will, how they manage to fiddle numbers so that they always look good. Let me just give you one quick example as I start today's video on day 35. Unemployment figures. Yeah? Usually you would think unemployment would just be people who don't have a job. Yeah? No job at all. No at least contract for a reasonable amount of steady hours. You'd think they would be regarded as unemployed. Yeah? Not so with the Tories, I'm afraid. If you 24/7 job search, if you go and produce evidence of your job searching, and you find a 0 hours contract job, you are expected to take it or your benefits will be stopped. Yeah? And then if you work 1 hour on that 0 hours contract job, 1 hour in a week, a month, whatever, if you work 1 hour, you're no longer unemployed. That's how Tories keep the unemployment figures down. It's easy. You just calculate them differently. Do you know, there used to be a report of children living in poverty, living below what even, the UN or the rest of the world would regard as the poverty line. I don't know what the Joseph Rowntree Foundation would regard as the poverty line. Yeah, independent organisation. There used to be a report on that. Do you know what happens with the government now? They don't count the figures anymore. So how do you wipe out child poverty? Easy. Don't count it. Now, coming back to what I'm saying today, how do you massage the real death toll from COVID-19? Well, the first thing you do, as we know, is you don't report deaths in care homes. Why don't you do that? Well, we are told they're private organisations, so it can't really relate to the NHS, can it? Oh, so let's just not include their deaths. What else do you do to make sure that deaths from COVID-19 stay low? How do you do this? You do what the government are already doing. You put pressure on doctors, those professional people who train for all those years and spend their lives trying to save our lives and make our lives better, along with nurses and people like that, yeah? So what do you do as a government? Well, what you do is you put pressure on doctors and you tell them, when you write out those death certificates, yeah, maybe even in hospital, certainly for people who die in care homes, certainly for people who die in their own homes, as the kind of kick-off, the start cause, what we would call in insurance the proximate cause of your patient's death, you don't write COVID-19. How, if you do that, because after all, the COVID-19 caused their lungs to collapse, it caused their heart to stop, it caused their kidneys to fail, yeah? So what was the real kind of, okay, they died because those other systems had shut down, but what kicked it all off? I mean, it's like driving down a motorway, isn't it? And you have a heart attack and screech across the carriageway and go straight into a line of cars. What really kicked off that accident? What really kicked off your death if you die? Was it just the fact that the cars were there? Was it just the fact that you lost control of your car? What was the actual cause of your death? Heart attack. Yep. So that's another way the government will naturally seek to keep the figures down. Yep. People are going on about a public inquiry. Forget it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. From Hillsborough to Grenfell to every tragedy that has happened, the government have always come out smelling of roses. And they will again. I promise you. Everything will be said that they were spot on. They didn't do anything wrong. Here's another worry for you. Johnson is going to have a word with Trump. He's going to meet another orange racist buffoon. Now, we know what Trump says, don't we? Trump's the kind of person who says, hell, if you've got to die to keep the US economy afloat, well, thank you for your service. You're dead. But the United States is grateful to you for your sacrifice in the fight for herd immunity to keep the country on track and growing again. Thank you. You have died for your economy. You have died for your people. You have died for your country. The economy thanks you for your sacrifice. So, once bozos come back from talking with Trumpy, yeah, I think we can expect lockdown to be lifted pretty quick. I really do. I honestly do. I think it'll be lifted really quick. But more importantly than that, don't for one moment ever think that scientific advisors will decide when it's lifted. No, they won't, because the government only listen to the kind of scientific advisors that conclude the things they want them to conclude. No, they won't decide when it's lifted. Yeah? And in all honesty, don't even think that Boris and all those MPs that you voted Tory for, don't actually think that even after a Commons debate, don't even think that they will decide when lockdown is lifted. I'll tell you who will decide when lockdown is lifted. The elite, ruling, moneyed, billionaire, trillionaire class who run everything in this world. Yeah, they'll decide. They will decide. They will then instruct Boris, maybe through Trump, maybe through people that they know, yeah, maybe through intimate contacts with these organisations, financial and personal contacts with these organisations, who actually run everything. This billionaire elite, yeah, this trillionaire elite, they will say when lockdown is over, back to work, tough shit. If you get it, you get it. If you live, you live. Sod the poor, sod even protecting the elderly and the immune suppressed. Sod it, it doesn't matter. They need you back at work so they can become not just more filthy rich, but more powerful. Because we're not talking about wealth there. We're talking about power. We're talking about control over the lives of ordinary human beings. That's not wealth, that's power. Power. Real political power. They're the people who will decide when lockdown finishes. Yeah? There will be nothing more than the government will just go, yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, just as easily, Boris could come back from talking with Trump and it will just be, Yeah, well, he'll probably leave it a little while because we're supposed to believe he's concerned about a second wave. We're really supposed to believe that. Yeah, supposed to be concerned about a second wave. No. He'll be having a little word with Boris, and Boris will be having a word with Trump. They'll both talk with each other, and then we'll decide not just when lockdown ends, but how it ends. I mean, are you going to be amongst the first who will send the trial kids out? We'll try them out. We'll send them back to school. Yeah, we'll send them back to school. We don't even know the overall death toll because they won't announce it. Yeah, but are you going to be the first parents going, it's okay, government said it's okay to go back to school. Okay, yeah, bye. Yeah, the same government that said Cheltenham was okay. Let's all gather for the Gold Cup. Let's play the football. Let's do the cricket. I mean, it's all right. It's all right. And when even Piers took that little idiot from the government on, do you know what the guy said to Piers? And I'm not really a fan of Piers, but do you know what the guy said to Piers? Oh, we were told by the scientific advisors that it would only spread to those really close to us. What? Only those really close to us, in crowds of thousands of people standing about like that far apart, so that, as I always say, you could probably see the hairs up their nose. But that's what the scientists said to them. So we let Cheltenham go ahead. We encourage people to come into football matches. They'll be the same people that will be telling you that their scientific advisors have said it's perfectly okay to begin by opening schools. But in the end, I end on one final message. This will be decided by the richest and the most powerful, who have direct control over whether you live or you die.